So to kick us off today, I'm excited for this one. We welcome our first expert, Dr. Leigh Gabel. Now, Dr. Gabel is an assistant professor in the Faculty of Kinesiology at the University of Calgary. Her research explores how physical activity and exercise influence musculoskeletal health across the lifespan. Nailed it. Using advanced medical imaging, she aims to understand how movement can improve our bone and joint health. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Gabel as she shares her research, providing us with a better understanding of how to approach the menopausal transition. Hands together.
Thanks, Joelle. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am thrilled to get us going today, and it's so nice to see so many of you here in the audience. I want to start by asking you to imagine yourself 10 or 20 years from now. How do you see yourself moving throughout your day? What does strength look and feel like for you at that age? Thank you. Now, let's travel back in time, not just decades, but generations. Women are born with all of the ovarian follicles or eggs that we will ever have. We have about 1 million of them at birth. By the time our first menstrual cycle arrives, we have only about half, or 500,000. And at menopause, less than 1,000 follicles remain. That means that the egg that was fertilized to become you was actually created while your mother was a growing fetus inside your grandmother. I'm going to let that sink in. Your story began inside 2 generations of women before you were even born. And if you're female, and if you've had a child, the egg that was fertilized to become your child was actually created while you were growing inside your mother. Your child's story began inside 2 generations of women before they were even born. And now one layer further. If you have a daughter, and that daughter has a child, and you're a grandmother, the egg that was fertilized to become your grandchild was actually created while your child was growing inside you. This beautifully illustrates that our bodies, including our bones, carry with them the stories, the strengths, and even the vulnerabilities of those who have come before us. That's biology, but it is also legacy. The menstrual cycle, it is far more than just a monthly event. It is the web of life. It is this dynamic hormonal dance that prepares the body to create and to sustain new life with the release of a mature follicle every month. It is the cycle that connects us across generations. And then there is menopause, marked by the end of the menstrual cycle, when we have no more follicles capable of maturing, and the closing of that life-sustaining cycle. But it is not the end of vitality. It is a shift into a new season of life. You may have heard menopause dismissed as a recent phenomenon, something that women only experience now because we are living longer. That maybe it's a bug in our evolution or didn't really serve a purpose. But I want to push back on those myths. Across human history, women have lived decades beyond their reproductive years. Even Aristotle, in the year 300 BC, noted that fertility ended around 40 to 50 years of age. But you see, life expectancy figures, like this one here, they can be misleading because they are averages that are dragged down during periods of high infant mortality. So when infant mortality was high, as in centuries and millennia before us, the average lifespan was low But many women still lived long lives, well beyond their childbearing years. Menopause, it is not a mistake of evolution. It is a design feature. Most mammals do not live long past their reproductive years, not even our closest primate relatives, chimpanzees. But nature rarely makes mistakes. In fact, menopause may have been one of humanity's greatest adaptations. Evolutionary scientists propose the grandmother hypothesis, that menopause is not a biological failure, it is an adaptation. By no longer bearing children, older women could help keep the family alive, teaching, feeding, protecting. Menopause, it turns out, may have helped humanity survive. So, seen in this light, menopause is not a failure of biology, but a powerful stage. It's not the end of vitality, but a shift to a new purpose, and one that helped our species thrive. Now, menopause, while natural, brings profound physiological changes, and it's not just about your period stopping, and it is not all rosy. Women's health issues have been chronically and persistently underfunded, understudied, underserved, and undertaught. Nowhere is this more apparent than women's health during the menopause transition, and bone health is an example of this. Estrogen plays a critical role in maintaining the balance between bone breakdown and bone formation. During the menopause transition, estrogen levels decline rapidly and bone loss increases sharply. On this figure here, you're seeing the increase in bone mineral density, or BMD, during adolescence, peaking at about age 30, and then bone density declining into older adulthood. You'll see substantially different bone loss curves between men and women. Women can lose up to 10% of their bone mass during the menopause transition and the decade after. If I superimpose the average age of menopause on here, around age 51, it becomes abundantly clear that bone loss actually begins before the final menstrual cycle. It starts during perimenopause, when your cycles become irregular. But here is the hopeful part. While menopause is natural and menopause is inevitable for any woman who lives long enough, bone fragility is not inevitable, particularly if we understand it, prepare for it, and act. So this problem led our team to reimagine what could healthy aging look like. We wanted to know, can heavy strength training reduce or even prevent bone loss during the menopause transition? Over the past 2 years, our team has been conducting a randomized controlled trial in women during perimenopause and early postmenopause. Half of the women were randomized to the strength training group, where they came to see us here at the University of Calgary twice a week for 9 months for an hour each time, and worked in small groups with a certified trainer. The other half of the women were randomized to wait as a control group, waiting patiently, living their lives as per usual, and then we offered them the intervention at a later date. Here's a short video that gives you a bit of a sense of what went on during a typical training session. And I don't know if you caught the amount of weight being lifted on that barbell in the last deadlift. It was over 150 pounds. That is some serious strength. So I want to share with you some hot off the press results from this trial. I probably shouldn't even say hot off the press because we haven't published them yet, but hopefully we'll be soon. So I'm first going to show you results from the deadlift. So that's the movement that you saw. When thinking of a deadlift, you can think about bending down, picking up a couple heavy bags of groceries, and standing back up again. So after 3 months of the women learning correct movement patternings and building up first with lighter weights, they were actually able to lift about 90% of their body mass. So the line at 100 there, that represents lifting your entire body mass. So for a woman weighing 150 pounds, that's being able to lift 135 pounds. Now, that's not too bad, right? But after just 6 months of heavy strength training, the women were able to deadlift over 115% of their body mass, or 175 pounds. That was a 40-pound increase in just 6 months. Now that is strength that you can feel. Let's look now at the back squat. So thinking about the movement, it's akin to sitting down on a chair, getting back up again, but a pretty heavy weight on your back. In this photo, what you're seeing is actually our trainer, Leah, is behind the participant. Her hands are out and stretched as a spotter, and the participant is holding on to the bar. So after 3 months of learning how to lift correct movement patterns, women were able to lift a little bit more than 70% of their body mass. So that's about 120 pounds. Again, not bad, right? But after just 6 months of strength training, they were able to lift more than their body mass, or 150 pounds. That was a 34-pound increase over 6 months. Now that is strength that you can feel every time you're climbing stairs, every time you're swinging a golf club, every time you're lifting groceries or picking up a child. Now let's look inside the body. I'm going to first share with you changes that we saw in bone mineral density at the lumbar spine. And in these plots, you're going to see 2 lines. The first line in yellow represents women who were in the control group. So they weren't strength training with us, they were patiently waiting to be admitted into the program. And in these women, we actually saw a loss in bone mineral density at the lumbar spine over the 9 months. This is what we expect to see. But in the women who were strength training, they actually gained bone mineral density at the lumbar spine. During a life period where we are expecting to see loss, their bones got stronger. The story continues in muscle. In women who were in the control group, they lost lean body mass in the arms and the legs, while the women who were strength training with us gained lean body mass. Again, during a life period where we're expecting to see declines, their muscles grew. And in tests of power, so how high and how forcefully you can jump, again, declines in the women not strength training, and substantial gains in the women who were strength training. They improved substantially. And now, perhaps the most meaningful result. It's all about how you're feeling. So we asked women how they were feeling in terms of quality of life before and after the intervention, in terms of their general health. How do you feel compared to before? How is your health now? And how does it compare with others? Women in the control group experienced a decline in quality of life, typical to what we might expect to see during midlife, while the women who were strength training improved their quality of life dramatically. They reported greater confidence and better general health. Here is the powerful part. Bones respond to what we do. Muscles respond to what we do. Movement matters. You can't change your genetics. You cannot change the timing of menopause, but we can change how we move through it. Menopause. It is the end of the menstrual cycle. It is not the end of vitality. It is a biological shift into a new season of strength. And science is finally catching up to what women have always known. When we invest in women's health, everyone benefits. So let us honor our bodies, our cycles, our wisdom. Let us replace silence with strength, replacing myths with meaning. Now, please return to that vision from the beginning. Imagine yourself 10 or 20 years from today. How are you moving about your life? What does strength look like and feel like for you at that age? The investment that you make in your strength today, it is not just for you, it is for the generations before and after you. And by investing in your strength today, I want you to consider what kind of life could you be adding to your years? Because this is what midlife momentum looks like. Thank you.
Dr. Gabel, that was fantastic. I love how you brought it around with that vision. I was closing my eyes and imagining it, but I didn't even have to really create anything because I was out walking along the elbow not too long ago, and I saw a group of women. They were maybe in their 70s or so, and they were out jogging and laughing together, and I was like, oh, that's the dream. I hope that that's me in the next 30 years. So thank you so much for those insights and for talking to us about the importance of strength into those later ages.